in the last 10 to 20 years, we have deployed throughout the world systems for basically measuring what's going on.
We're living in a situation now where many of our objects and devices and homes and even sort of bits of city furniture are networked. They're actually creating data in some senses and sharing that either with other devices or with people or with institutions or organizations.
Spend 90 minutes walking maybe 100 meters of a city street and looking at all the places where networks are gathering information, whether that's through CCTV cameras or automated number plate recognition systems, whether that's through sensing coils that are buried beneath the asphalt, whether that's through various kinds of RFID device, NFC.
There are instruments throughout the airports and the planes, the hangars. Even as they're traveling from city to city, airplanes are throwing off data about their location, their operations. And that's really the same thing that's happening to the city now. And even just the routine data of the economy, the routine operations of the economy throws off tremendous amounts of data, mobile phone calls, credit card transactions.
And so we're in this kind of situation now of extreme connectivity where the effects that we have on each other are no longer necessarily just local. They actually kind of percolate through the system further.
If you're interested in how the world has become decisively embedded with sensing devices and sensing capabilities and sensing instruments, you need look really no further than your own pocket.
I think probably the biggest and richest set of data about what's happening in cities is the data that comes off of our mobile phones every time we make a call or move from one place to another. And you can see how valuable that is because intelligence services are really interested in it. They want to be able to track people and know who they're talking to.
At this point in time, practically everybody in the developed world, something like 70% of everybody in the city has a sensing platform on their bodies at all times that goes where they go.
But researchers are also using it to understand how social networks behave in cities. Transportation planners can use it to see how people move.
We see, images of the activity of, Barcelona or Rome following a concert or a sporting event. We begin to see the rhetoric of, this is a picture of activity. These images represent where people are.
And people are sort of looking through these almost like they're vital signs of the city to try to understand what's going on and see if there's patterns that they can then predict. So the corporate pitch around smart cities has basically been that we can tackle the challenge of global warming and climate change by making cities work more efficiently, by putting sensors and infrastructure that allow us to squeeze a little bit more capacity out of a road so we don't have to build a new road, or to reduce energy consumption in buildings. There have been some high-profile experiments, like the Intelligent Operations Center in Rio de Janeiro, which is this attempt to build almost a NASA-style mission control center for what many people have thought is an ungovernable city. And it's a city where large swaths of neighborhoods are controlled by drug gangs. And to help them, they brought IBM in to essentially install a piece of software to manage the city. And it's not clear how effective it's being, but it certainly was a symbol of smartness in Brazil. The idea that we can just sort of optimize our cities to make them both greener and wealthier is really a suspect proposition.
It's really a kind of fetish of data. It's the fetish that the more kind of floods of data we have, that we would somehow be able to make better decisions, because it kind of comes down to that. That's the argument that's often made. More data will give us the capacity to make better decisions. Now, that's something that actually again and again has been proved to be not the case.
So the question is, do bigger, faster computers and bigger, faster data get us to knowledge and understanding of cities, or do they just raise the possibility of bigger and faster mistakes? And this sort of new science of cities is really just forming now, And it remains to be seen if it's going to produce new useful knowledge about cities.
Because what happens is when you have more and more of this data, is in a sense you forget about the preconceptions or the boundaries through which that data was crafted in the first place. Because, you know, data is in a sense a craft. Somebody actually created it. You don't just pluck it from the atmosphere. You don't just go out and measure something that exists out there.